at the popular Kikopey stopover. Kikopey Ridge enjoys beautiful views of Lake Elementaita. Buy now at 350k and save 50,000 shillings. Installments price is 400,000 shillings. Book with 50k, balance in 4 months. Join us on our open day on 3rd August and this beautiful puppy might be yours. SMS Kikopey to 40299. AMG Realtors. Integrity.
Mtaala mpya wa elimu unatarajiwa kuimarisha uwezo wa mwanafunzi si tu katika elimu bali pia katika masuala mengine kama vile ukuzaji wa talanta, lakini hali ni ngumu kwa zaidi ya shule 50 za eneo hili la Kinango.
Sasa inataka zile trainings za kutosha, lakini tukiletwa unapigiwa tu kutoka mwanzo mpaka mwisho, ukitoka pale kama umekorogeka.
We have only 2 teachers who understand the CBC and each have 52 lessons per week.
CBC inataka mafunzo mengi yawe yako digital.
Lakini pia wana matumaini kuwa viongozi wao watazinduka na kuimarishia shule bora.
Na ng'ombe wangu.
Are you ready for Kenya's most anticipated color run? The Plascon Color Run. On Sunday, August the 11th, the color storm hits Uhuru Gardens, Langata Road. Come experience a whole new level of heaven on earth. DJ Music Mix Entertainment and performances by renowned artists. Gates open at 10 a.m. Available kids arena. Plenty of food and drinks all day long. Simply dial *229*38# or log on to www.mtickets.com to get your ticket today. Plascon, color your world.
Vidyarthi University really pushes for change and overall transformation and innovation.
And I know that Vidyarthi University is going to make my dreams come true.
The Vidyarthi University. Dream it. Realize it. Registration is ongoing.
This August 16th, join us for a night of praise and worship as the 3 times Grammy Award winners Soweto Gospel Choir perform live at Sitam Karen. Grab your tickets now for only 2,000 bob on www.ticketsasa.com and get ready for a worship experience like never before. Also performing will be Paul Clement from Tanzania, Pitson, Evelyn Wanjiro, Karura Voices, Nikita Kering, Redforth Chorus and Spellcast Choir. Proudly brought to you by Aster Eden Planners and NTV.
This is NTV.
Hi there, you're just in time for NTV Tonight. Thanks for joining us. These are our top stories.
Tonight, over 600 Kenyans to be retrenched from 2 listed companies. Over 500 Telkom Kenya staff serving notice. The other major firm is among Kenya's top taxpayers.
Also tonight, high-profile cancer-related deaths spark more talk about battling the scourge, but questions on action arise.
Waters expand from one country, point spreads in another country, and then it's being repackaged again.
For us to be able to reach a point of declaring this a national disaster. There has to be sufficient data built over time.
Plus, Ken Okoth celebrated at funeral service amid disagreements on how and where to lay him to rest.
He impacted so many people's lives in so many different ways.
And nothing was impossible for Ken.
And triumph over terror. Dusit D2 opens its doors 6 months after attack.
This
is a new beginning. We as Dusit.
Business is back. The spirit and the strength of Kenyans is back.
NTV Tonight with Mark Masai and Smriti Vidyarthi.
Our sign language interpreter tonight is Flora Atieno, and this evening we start with some grim numbers. Mark, you've got more on that.
That's right. Against impressive reports of economic growth and promises for an even more robust economy, I'm backing up because it seems we must be retracting with the latest here. The reports that we're having, massive job cuts still stick out, and as companies seek to cut costs or restructure to adapt to their markets. Tonight, the dark cloud of job losses in their hundreds has pitched tent over 2 NSE-listed companies and, by extension, over the economy as it affects hundreds of Kenyans, as you're about to see. Now, according to an internal email to Telkom Kenya staff, the company has announced that 575 Telkom Kenya employees will be fired, and this is according to the company CEO Mugo Kibati, and is part of the realignment of the telco, as the telco prepares, I should say, for a merger with Airtel Kenya to form Airtel Telkom. Now, the firm says it has issued a month's notice on intention of terminating the contracts, and that is effective today, July the 31st of 2019. Now, sources indicate that some are likely to be reabsorbed, but that's not the case for another company that is having some layoffs. The country's second largest taxpayer for years is offloading staff in Kenya, and East Africa Breweries Limited is going to send some 100 people home, and that is going to be phased out process over 8 months, and the affected staff are mostly from the human resources and finance department from the EABL company. Now, these 2 departments, of course, will be affected because the parent company has decided to outsource some services. Sources indicate that affected staff met the management, which informed them of the changes, indicating that the first batch will exit the brewer in December, while the second group will exit in March next year. The brewery's mother company, Diageo, that I mentioned earlier, says its review and reorganization will significantly alter the firm's structure. Now, this is not just unique to this year. There has been a lot of layoffs. If we rewind to last year, many have been shown the door, as we can see here. And yes, it's affected the banking sector, as we could see from the latest figures in the reports. The National Bank lost 112 employees, and Britam had to fire and lay off 110. And still in the insurance sector, UAP Old Mutual by the half year was laying off 89 staff members, and Barclays Bank also losing 78 of its staff members to retrenchment, and Standard Chartered 54. The numbers don't look good, Smriti, and we will be getting a perspective from an economist to tell us why this is happening.
That's right, Mark. Certainly some negative numbers there affecting hundreds of people. Listen in, though, to this expert opinion as to why perhaps this is happening.
Does this news surprise you? Not completely as a surprise, because these 2 firms announced a while back that they're going to have some kind of joint venture merger. And one of the things that happens in mergers, if you're seeking efficiencies, is it's possible that some jobs will be lost. So not fully a surprise.
But what does it mean?
Well, I think it's both a positive and side that's not too positive. So the positive side is it means 2 firms are seeking to be more efficient. That's good for them, good for the economy, and good for their customers. Because if they're more efficient, they provide better services, their productivity will rise, and that's a good thing overall. The bad thing is that some people, a number close to 500, are losing jobs. So obviously, unless they find more jobs immediately, there could be some discomfort for them for a while.
And what does it say of Kenya's investment climate?
The only thing it says about Kenya's investment climate is that if large farms such as these, because these are large farms by Kenyan standards, they're big farms, such as these have problems operating, then it's telling you that the economy perhaps is not doing as well as we seem to think it is. Secondly, they're in a sector that's very, very important for our growth and activity going forward. So in a way, it also tells you that as they're seeking efficiencies, I think it suggests that productivity across Kenya's sectors is something that we need to look at. So yes, it's overall a mixed picture.
All right, a story that we certainly will be following up on. Elsewhere now, the Ministry of Health says there's not enough data to support calls to declare cancer a national disaster.
This even though about 47,000 new cases are reported yearly, and which result in about 32,000 deaths.
NTV's Kennedy Muredi reports that the cancer scourge has now become something of a talk shop for leaders in the country, and more so following the death of a prominent person.
For eons now, public discourse around the fight against cancer resurfaces every time a prominent person succumbs to the disease, and recommendations made during the emotional period put in a shelf to gather dust until the next time another death occurs. The death of two prominent Kenyans last week and this week has once again reignited the conversation, with everyone, including specialists, taking every available opportunity to have their voice added to those of the grieving family.
Masaratani imekuwa sasa janga la kitaifa. Nataka kumwomba Mheshimiwa Rais achukue nafasi hii. Tumepoteza Mheshimiwa mjumbe wa Kibra, sasa tumepoteza gavana wa Bomet, watu ambao insurance covers yao ilikuwa na uwezo ya kuwatibu na kuwalipia.
However, the government hopes to settle the debate altogether.
For us to be able to reach a point of declaring this a national disaster, there has to be sufficient data built over time, and that is desegregated. That is also indicating the causes, that is scientific, that is solid, that is sound.
Speaking at her office at the Ministry of Health, Cabinet Secretary Cecily Kariuki said emotions that accompany the deaths occasioned by cancer were high, but the parameters to declare it a national disaster were much lower.
We also move away now from the issue of high emotions because of lack of information, and we begin then to actually interrogate the information that we have available a little bit further, dissect it a little bit further, and we have the experts speak to the population.
Specialists in the field have also raised concerns about the rising cases of cancer in the country, calling for immediate intervention. According to government data, there are 48,887 new cases of cancer diagnosed in the country every year. 32,987 of these cases result in deaths. This translates to about 80 people per day. Some 3,200 children under the age of 18 are diagnosed with the disease every year. The country has only 35 oncologists.
If we want to actually have an impact in reducing these deaths that we are seeing currently, we need to have funding for this.
Though the government is admitting that over 30,000 people are losing their lives due to the different strains of cancer we have in the country, it says it is in the process of setting up radiotherapy centers all over the country in an effort to bring down the number of Kenyans traveling outside the country seeking this treatment. This is, however, not the first time the promise has been made. In 2016, President Uhuru Kenyatta, in a joint communique with visiting Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, promised to set up a cancer center that has to date not taken off. In the 2018-2019 financial year, the government set aside about 400 million shillings to set up regional cancer centers, but little is there to show for it. A 5-year cancer strategy was launched for the years 2017 to 2022, but little has been implemented this far. These efforts have put into question the seriousness with which the government is taking on the disease. Today, CS Kariuki inaugurated the National Cancer Institute Board, gazetted in April this year, which hopes to harmonize and implement some of the ideas of fighting cancer. Kennedy Mureithi, NTV.
As the talk shop continues, the death from the cases of cancer does not stop. 6 out of 10 cases of cancer are diagnosed too late in the day, when they are either in the 3rd or 4th stage. Specialists in the field believe this is due to lack of awareness and information on cancer, which is currently the 3rd killer disease in the country.
NTV's Julians Amboko spoke to some experts who believe that more needs to be done to fund research into the disease that claims more than 30,000 lives in the country every year.
It is one of a number of chemotherapy cycles for these patients battling cancer at a cancer care clinic. Drop by drop, the medicine courses through their veins, targeting the cancerous cells. A handful had the cancers detected earlier and put on treatment. Mrs. Anne Korir heads the cancer registry at Cambridge. She says the rise in the numbers of cancer cases in the country can be attributed to a number of factors.
Right now we are consuming a lot of high-processed diets, a lot of high fats, high sugars. So all these changes are really affecting us. Things that are happening in the environment, the pollution, you know, all these cars emitting all kinds of pollution. The amount of chemicals that we are using even in our farms, you know, we are telling people eat diet that is rich in vegetable and fruits. But then again, how are those vegetables and fruits grown?
The findings by Cambridge, conducted in 12 counties, pointed to an increase in the number of cases reported. The Research Institute is working on a study in the counties to determine predisposing factors in various areas of the country to determine if some of the cancers are related. According to Dr. Andrew Odhiambo, a Nairobi-based medical oncologist, some who believe they are not predisposed to cancer due to the lack of awareness on cancer and the myths around it shy away from early screening.
Men can get breast cancer. Men get breast cancer, young and old. Men's breasts should be checked. Probably you will not check them the same way with a mammogram, but just a simple breast examination once a year is important. Men who get lumps should have them checked. A lot of boys in teen who get physiological enlargement of the breast, we call that gynecomastia. We shouldn't just make that assumption, and we should have them at least be checked by a breast surgeon.
There has been unrelenting calls to have a multisectoral approach to the fight against cancer. A number of Kenyans are concerned they are at risk of consuming carcinogenic products illegally brought into the country due to lack of checks and an even more wanting preventative approach towards combating the disease.
In 5 years' time, we will be releasing new statistics. If we sit and do nothing, are these cancers going to go down? I don't think so. We'll still continue seeing these cancers going up.
Eunice Omolo, NTV, Nairobi.
Of course, as earlier put by Kennedy Mureithi, the discussion is big on this because it has recently touched the lives of some key Kenyans, but the figures still put a grim picture out there because, as they say, 30,000 cases are diagnosed, and it is a serious case nonetheless, whether it's just a citizen or a leader. Speaking of the leaders.
Yeah, well, of course, one of the leaders that we did lose is Bomet Governor Dr. Joyce Laboso, and her death caught the nation by surprise as the public knew little about her medical condition.
Her long battle with cancer was officially confirmed after news broke that she had passed on at the Nairobi hospital.
Well, in Bomet, the Deputy Governor, that's Hilary Barchok, says that taking steps to fight the disease will be part of his priority once he takes over. Listen in.
Her Excellency also wanted to touch the lives of the mother and the child. And there was a proposal that we construct a very huge facility next to Longisa. We are calling it Mother and Child Welfare Center. One section of which, of course, was to have a section that will be screening and taking care of cancer patients and so forth. We'll still follow on the same vision that she had.
It was one of the final chapters of the long walk home for the late Kibra MP Ken Okoth.
At a memorial service at his former school, that's the Starehe Boys Center, his friends, family and former school relived his life, his legacy and its resounding impact on the lives that he touched.
Okoth's body will be flown to his maternal home for public viewing and a prayer service. NTV's Leila Mohammed attended the memorial at Starehe Boys Center and reports on the community's reflection of his life.
The courtyard at the Starehe school was cloaked in a gloom that mirrors the day's weather. A soul-stirring reunion for the old boys of the Starehe Boys Center, friends and family in memory of a man who in their hearts will remain immortalized.
If any of us got into trouble and Ken was on your side, you are safe.
Amid somber hymns and heartwarming speeches, the community here relived the life of the late Kibra MP Ken Okoth, who they fondly remember as Ochi or the Whiz Kid.
And Kevin Mutisia had used to call him Kokoti.
Each one choosing to remember the beauty in a beast who killed it in class and in everything else he did.
He had no chance in hell to win. There were some very, very tough politicians who were qualified for that constituency, Kibra, but he dared to dream.
The flag flying at half-mast in honor of an old boy whose gait and stature was intimidating yet humbling for those he interacted with.
Thanks for being a considerate big brother, Ken.
It is here that the Natulenge Juu mantra sharpened his skill and appetite to serve. The raindrops were a welcome blessing on a day a man who gave back to many just like the rain. His widow Monica recounted the 21 years of life shared with him.
But his spirit and his determination, he would go to every doctor's appointment and he would knew what the doctor was going to say because he had already done his homework and he knew all the latest treatment. And the doctors were just amazed. He just never ever gave up.
The news surrounding his death and what will be his final journey, an even more painful prick in the hearts of his family who say their memory of him was being tainted by unwarranted and untrue claims.
Take it from me as the absolute truth that Ken was brought up by the mom that you see here in a very single-parent family. And all those other things that are now cropping up from the woodworks through all sorts of channels in the social media, kindly disregard all those.
The late Ken Okoth walked the aisles of the Starehe Boys Center and touched the lives of many people. He was not only a lover of books, people, but also music. And just like three little birds, he believes everything will be all right someday. Leila Mohammed, NTV, Nairobi.
Well, as plans are underway for Ken Okoth's burial, the late Bomet Governor Dr. Joyce Laboso, there will be a memorial service for Joyce Laboso taking place tomorrow, and we will be covering that live right here on NTV. So do ensure that you tune in. Well, elsewhere,
to developments on administration of the counties, county governments will have to run their operations without funds for much longer after the Supreme Court adjourned the hearing of the case on the Division of Revenue Bill today.
Well, this was after lawyers representing the Speaker of the National Assembly asked the judges to give MPs more time to debate and pass a new Division of Revenue Bill.
But governors opposed the request, saying it will plunge counties into more financial crisis.
NTV's Silas Apollo was in court and filed the following report.
For the third time in a row, efforts to find a solution to the deadlock on the Division of Revenue failed to yield much fruit. This is after judges of the Supreme Court allowed an application made by the Speaker of the National Assembly, Justin Muturi, through his lawyers for more time to publish and debate a new bill.
We strongly urge the two houses of Parliament to discharge their constitutional responsibilities in view of the potential of a constitutional crisis with regard to the matter at hand.
Lawyers representing Muturi told the court that the two houses of parliament had already published new bills and that having the matter proceed in court was not in order.
Not you do not, but even the figures in the two bills are different from the figures which were exhibited by the applicants, showing these are fresh matters, which if it was a new matter, perhaps we would raise that the previous one is already overtaken by them.
But governors, through their lawyer Fred Ngatia, opposed the decision, arguing that allowing it to proceed will cause a financial crisis in the counties.
By each originating their own bill tells you that we are now in very unfamiliar territory, because you can't have a mediation of two bulls that are locked.
Governors moved to court after the National Assembly failed to increase allocation to counties, as had been recommended by the Commission on Revenue Allocation. A meeting convened by the Law Society of Kenya early this week to mediate the matter collapsed after the National Assembly Speaker Muturi failed to show up. The county bosses argue that failure to pass the bill has seen operations in counties stall.
Parliament now has 14 days to file a status report on the debate on the Division of Revenue Bill ahead of the mention of the case again on 15th of August. Silas Apollo, NTV.
Now, schools are closing for the August holidays. What will your kids be up to?
You need to pay attention because more than 50 secondary school students were arrested at a local entertainment joint within Nakuru town after officers found them smoking bang and watching pornographic videos. There they are.
Well, the students who were on their way home for the August holidays were rounded up by county enforcement officers after tenants in the building tipped off police.
Law enforcement, Officer James Kinanga said some of the students were still dressed in school uniform and were at the entertainment spot, ostensibly to play video games.
Well, 3 people working at the joint were arrested during the raid, and the officers also confiscated their laptops.
Watoe strict transportation process, hasa watoto wakifika tu wakifizwa tu town na wapande matatu za kuenda kwao, na tunataka wakuu ya mashule wafanye tu patrol town hapa, wakipata watoto wao wanasurasura roho ovyo ovyo, at least wawachukulia hatua.
We have also arrested the owners of those places who are here, and we are thinking of taking an action against the same people who are doing that business, because they have not been given their licenses to go and engage in pornography.
Well, good on those residents who alerted the law enforcement. As they say, it takes a whole village to raise a child.
That's right.
On to a victorious note, somewhat. Dusit D2 Hotel has been reopened. This is just 6 months since that Tuesday when gunmen shot at random in a terrorist attack that killed more than 20 people. All that was broken has been fixed. Almost.
Well, it is still an incredible story of the phoenix rising from the ashes of terror. NTV's Mel Miendo was there when the 14 Riverside complex opened to the public and has the story.
Pomp and color encircled the air at the 14 Riverside complex. Just a clearer image of rebirth and resilience, a people cutting through the past and taking the first crucial steps to healing.
During the time of our closure, we have taken time to train our staff, both locally, while others were sent to our head office in Bangkok, Losing International, to enhance their skills.
This is an absolute novelty. It has never happened that we can bounce back within the shortest time period.
Business is back, the spirit and the strength of Kenyans is back, and nobody, no terrorist, nobody will kill the spirit of Kenyans and its visitors from coming to Dusit.
6.5 months later, it's a gaze into the light that's taken the place of the darkness of that Tuesday. For some who lived through the ordeal, every harrowing minute of what happened is still fresh in their minds, but others have dried their tears and washed off the dust.
Na furaha kubwa sana kufunguliwa kwa Dusit ni jambo ambalo lilikuwa
tumesubiri kwa muda mrefu sana.
Sawadika, asante sana. It's amazing to see this new experience that Dusit D2 Hotel is offering. Today was a ceremony opening it up, but tomorrow even the public is allowed to come. They are saying, they are assuring the previous customers and even new ones that as they come in, this is different, this is Kenya, and they are willing to bring in everyone on board. Mel Miendo, NTV.
All right, well, on that point of some good news in this broadcast, it is now to pump the brakes on NTV Tonight, but here's what's coming up.
Instant fines for traffic violations and how they will pinch you more.
I told you to kick it more to the left.
No, kick it higher.
No, to the left.
Come on, guys, stop it. Remember the win.
OneXBet, African betting partner of Tottenham Hotspur.
AMG Realtors brings you Kikopey Ridge, 8th-acre parcels located just 5 minutes drive from Nairobi-Nakuru Highway. Accessible at the popular Kikopey stopover. Kikopey Ridge enjoys beautiful views of Lake Elementaita. Buy now at 350k and save 50,000 shillings. Installments price is 400,000 shillings. Book with 50k, balance in 4 months. Join us on our open day on 3rd August and this beautiful puppy might be yours. SMS Kikopey to 40299. AMG Realtors. Integrity.
Who wants to answer? Mary?
Mary has a toothache.
Oh, I see. And who knows why?
Because her tooth is too big.
No, it might be a hole in her tooth called a cavity. That's why I brush twice a day using Colgate.
Imagine this is your tooth and these are food acids that cause cavities. Colgate with calcium and fluoride helps prevent cavities
For maximum cavity protection.
and now available in a 12-gram sachet for fresh breath. Only 15 shillings.
UNICAF University is here. Internationally recognized and licensed by the Commission of University Education in Kenya, offering generous scholarships for online bachelor, master's, and doctoral degrees, awarded from partner universities in the UK, the US, Europe, and Africa. Apply now at www.unicaf.org or call 0730 775 000. Choose UNICAF University for the career and life of your dreams.
It's an issue that remains hugely divisive.
At times me feel like mimi niliua watu wangu mimi mwenyewe. Niliamua kuiterminate juu ningepata ule mtu hii ningeteseka. Nilikuwa mdogo, hata sikuwa najua anything about kulea. But me feel hizo vitu zote mimi ndio nilikosa. Nilifeel vibaya sana ku lose 3 kids.
The abortion debate. Live from Fairview Hotel this Thursday on Here and Now from 8 p.m. AMG Realtors brings you Kikopey Ridge, 8th-acre parcels located just 5 minutes drive from Nairobi-Nakuru Highway. Book with 50k, balance in 4 months. AMG Realtors. Integrity.
NTV Tonight with Mark Masai and Smriti Vidyarthi.
Welcome back. You will now be charged a fine for every traffic offence you commit, payable before you renew your driving license.
Well, this is according to the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and Coordination of National Government, that's Fred Matiang'i, who says that every offence will be digitally listed through the Huduma Number's smart driving license.
Well, some might ask whether if I took a number, the Huduma number, if they'll be affected. We'll see about that. These are among measures put in place by the National Transport and Safety Authority to curb road carnage. Zainab Ismail has more.
The National Transport and Safety Authority says that over 3,000 lives are lost on Kenyan roads annually. A startling figure according to the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and Coordination of National Government.
There's no additional regulation we don't. We have enough laws and we have enough regulations. We just have to be serious people.
The authority has announced a raft of measures to curb road carnage. At the center of these new regulations is the Huduma Number.
We can rely on technology to give us accurate data on your misbehavior. And thank God we now have Huduma Number and we have your cell phone number. And therefore, we have your driver's license number, and we have a digital record. We will put all the fines in your account, and you will not renew your driver's license until you pay all the fines, because we will have your records and your Huduma number.
A defective driver training, testing and licensing system are a major casual factors of road accidents according to NTSA. The CS adding that this has been aggravated by the recent proliferation of backstreet driving schools in the country. Data from NTSA shows that the number of pedestrian deaths are on the rise. In the last 1 year alone, 1,250 pedestrians died on the road compared to 786 passengers. 633 motorcyclists, 280 pillion passengers and 78 pedal cyclists. Other major changes expected to be rolled out include upgrading of speed governors in all public service vehicles, revalidation of driving schools, introduction of new generation number plates and implementation of the instant fine system. CS Matiang'i also directed that no PSV driver's license will be renewed without a mandatory training and retesting process in accordance with the newly prescribed modules with effect from 1st November 2019. Zainab Ismail, NTV, Nairobi.
Elsewhere, the Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology has denied that any of the PhDs issued to students in June have been suspended.
The university, however, says it has taken into consideration the recommendations and concerns raised in a report by the Commission for University Education that has called into question quality of the degrees, especially those trained in satellite campuses.
Here's NTV's Brenda Wanga with the details.
The heat from the university's conferment of 118 PhDs to students in one graduation ceremony is not about to cool off. The quality of those degrees has been called into question, with concerns hinged on the manner of instruction from the less than adequate lecturers at the university's main campus as well as its satellite ones. A report from the Commission for University Education paints a particularly worrying picture and calls on the university to stop the PhD program in its satellite campuses. But the university is putting up a spirited fight to save its academic reputation.
All degrees of the university are meritoriously earned, and no student is allowed to graduate without going through the due process.
The university's administration says it is in receipt of the Commission's report and is studying it with the aim of implementing its recommendations.
The Dean's Committee is looking at the report, and they are going to look at each and every one of those things and then give a report to Senate on it.
The university has awarded a total of 308 PhDs in the last 3 years. Only 160 of these recipients were trained at the Juja campus. The rest were trained at the 9 campuses outside Juja, where the Commission says staffing isn't adequate. The report says where the lecturers are present, their level of academic qualification isn't up to par.
JKUAT is very proud of its graduates, and we wish to reassure Kenyans and all our stakeholders that the university remains committed to the ideals and values underpinned underpinning quality.
The university says its own report in response to the commissions will be ready in 2 weeks for action by the Senate. The Senate's report will then be presented to the Cabinet Secretary for Education within 3 months as instructed. Brenda Wanga, NTV.
Betting companies whose licenses were revoked by the Betting Control and Licensing Board are accusing the Kenya Revenue Authority of unfair treatment.
Market leader, that's SportPesa and BetIn, told the Senate's Justice and Legal Affairs Committee that shutting them down based on a tax dispute is using the law selectively to kill their business.
The companies want the committee to order the licensing board to reinstate their operating licenses.
And it required, as one of the conditions, that BetIn puts into a security an amount of 150 million shillings, which it paid, pending determination of the matter. That security was a cash security. It was money that was actually given to the Revenue Authority, so that no action could be taken pending determination of the matter. That matter has been ignored. These orders were not complied with. When it came to the deduction of the winnings, it became very difficult on the part of gaming companies to deduct the winning, especially because now it went into touching the player's principal amount, the amount he has bet with. And that is the dispute that is before the Tax Appeals Tribunal and some cases in the High Court as well.
I refuse a country where law is used to suffocate honest business. Well, fraudsters in this country are making money and walking away.
We're about to get into the business, but something that you could be looking forward to tomorrow.
That's right. Now, 6 weeks ago, 4 Kenyans, including a mother and her small child, were smuggled by road from Nairobi to Johannesburg, South Africa.
An undercover reporter with The Nation followed their every step, documenting their experience, observing their frustration, listening to their conversations, and living through their 9 days of hope, pain, and despair.
Well, these 4 Kenyans represent hundreds, perhaps even thousands of others who make this treacherous journey to South Africa in search of better opportunities and whose stories we might never tell.
In the Daily Nation tomorrow, read about the desperate journeys south, planned and executed by a meticulous smuggling cartel that is making a killing from this modern-day exodus.
All right, something interesting, no doubt, to read in your paper tomorrow. Time for another breather. The business news is coming up next with Dan Mwangi, and here's a sense of what you can expect in business.
We construct a picture of the latest construction trends.
School of Business, University of Nairobi, globally recognized and offering internationally accredited programs, invites applications for the September 2019 intake in the following postgraduate and undergraduate programs: Master in Business Administration, Master of Science in Marketing, Human Resources Management, Entrepreneurship and Innovations Management, Finance, Supply Chain Management, Operations and Technology Management, Bachelor of Commerce, Bachelor Commerce Distance Learning, Bachelor of Science in Finance, Accounting, Operations and Supply Chain Management. Programs are offered in Mombasa and Kisumu campuses and selected programs at the Eldoret Learning Center. Apply online through application.uonbi.ac.ke and be the first to secure admission at the most prestigious university in Sub-Saharan Africa. The University of Nairobi is a world-class university committed to scholarly excellence.
Baba amekuwa mgonjwa, amekonda, hata ana nguvu.
Nakata kwenda hospitali kwa nini? Si nilikwambia tuwezi jua kwa hakika kama ni TB. Mpaka uende hospitali upimwe. Na kama ni TB, unatibiwa kwa hospitali yote bila malipo. Tests unafanywa bila malipo. Madawa unapewa bila malipo. Utaambukiza kila mtu kwa hii nyumba.
Usingoje hadi dakika ya mwisho. Pimwa kwenye hospitali ya serikali. Matibabu yanapatikana bila malipo. TB inakinga na tiba.
Making my family some nutritious porridge is a painstaking process. First, I have to find all the ingredients needed, and there are many. For vitamins, proteins, and minerals, I need cassava, sorghum, millet. You no longer need to go through all that to make nutritious porridge. All you need is NutriPro.
You don't have to go through the trouble of finding, measuring, and weighing all these vital ingredients. New NutriPro porridge flour comes fortified with 13 vitamins, proteins, and minerals. This means that you have more time to focus on what's important, giving your family the healthy start they deserve. NutriPro, bringing families together. From Tropical Brand.
Birthday party. Birthday party. Birthday party. Are we not invited?
We have gifts.
Malaria.
Mommy, pests!
Run.
Oh, die.
Party.
Compared to an ordinary spray, Mortein Doom Power Guard kills disease-causing pests instantly. Mortein Doom Power Guard.
Tusonge mbele na Fiber Mobile. Get a Fiber SIM card today and enjoy Tusonge mbele bundles at affordable prices.
Ukiambiwa 1 plus 2, 10 marks. Huwezi andika 3.
Hebu fanya ujinga, uvae jeans, t-shirt na kofia. Uingie kwa gari, makanga akuitishe fare, umwambie nitakupea tukishuka. Unasikianga? Dondoa moja dere.
Avena contains omega-6 and 9 and is fortified with vitamins A and D. New Avena Premium Vegetable Cooking Oil. Now available in all leading stores.
Good evening and welcome to NTV Business. My name is Dan Mwangi. Eastleigh, Karen and Nairobi Central Business District are the frontrunners in attracting construction, according to a report by the Architectural Association of Kenya. AAK notes, however, that some of the residential buildings coming up in parts of the capital city are substandard, putting the lives of Kenyans at risk. Here's Lillian Carrier with a breakdown of the facts and figures of the construction sector.
From January to June 2019, the county government of Nairobi approved development projects worth 84.2 billion shillings. This represents 955 development plans, and from this, the City Hall has already collected 333 million shillings. Now let's build some context on this construction landscape. Now, Eastleigh is the area where most development projects have been put up in the first half of 2019. The bulk of these projects are residential homes, and experts are already raising concerns over how they have been constructed.
A lot of these buildings come tumbling down because, one, these people are not using people who are licensed to put them up. If you use a registered engineer or a registered architect, it is their responsibility to ensure that the standards are adhered to, otherwise they lose their licenses. But if you go to somebody who's not a registered engineer or an architect, even as a developer, or as the public, they are not properly protected because these people have not been registered to practice. So it's because these people cut corners, because they want to build at the lowest price so that they get the best returns.
Karen had the second highest number of constructions in the first half of 2019. This is because of a lot of offices setting up, as well as construction of malls in the area. Nairobi CBD comes in third, owing to the renovations of buildings, and Nairobi's industrial area comes in fourth, owing to the expansion of industries. Now here is an interesting fact. South Africa's Johannesburg is ranked as the most expensive city in Africa. Nairobi comes in second, and it is ranked as 86th globally, topping cities such as Mumbai, Kuala Lumpur, Beijing, and Shanghai. These are some of the findings of the status of the built environment report for the first half of 2019 by the Architectural Association of Kenya. Lilian Kiarie, NTV.
Let's stay with constructing these pictures, and financial woes continue to afflict property developer Home Africa, with the company posting results that show that it sank deeper into loss territory in the year 2018. In the 12 months ended December 31st, 2018, the company posted a 346 million shilling loss compared to a 181 million shilling loss that it posted in the year 2017. The massive dip represents a 91% widening of its loss position. Home Africa's bottom line came under pressure from declining revenues, rising finance costs as well as higher administrative expenses. The company, whose liabilities exceed its assets, has seen its market value fall by 15% to 243 million shillings since the start of 2019. Let's cross to the lakeside county of Kisumu, and a court there has ordered the closure of 3 plants belonging to Kibos Sugar and Allied Industries Limited for illegally and unprocedurally acquiring a National Environment Management Authority license. As a result, the operations of the plants have been posing a health and environmental hazard. Now, the directive issued by the court will cease operations at Kibos Sugar, Kibos Distillers Limited and Kibos Power Limited. Justice Stephen Kibunjia, however, granted the factories 7 days before the order of the court takes effect. The ruling gives Kibos Sugar and Allied Industries Limited 120 days to carry out environmental impact assessment studies and get the required license, failure to which the company will be required to demolish the factory premises in order to restore the land to its original state. They talk about when the rubber meets the road. Let's talk about the leather. And the industry has potential for growth, but a dearth in investment at multiple levels continues to stifle its prospects for expansion. In recent years, export volumes of leather have been declining, even as progress on promoting the sector, such as through the establishment of a leather park, take place at glacial pace. Experts in the industry had this to say on what ails the sector.
There's suddenly an oversupply of hides and skins. And what happens is, because of that oversupply, the industry is now very particular about the quality of hides and skins which are used to make leather. So in that situation, unless the quality is really good, the global demand is not there.
Now, the biggest challenge that we are facing at that particular point is a very poor offtake of the raw hides and skins due to poor slaughtering practices at the abattoir or at the slaughterhouses. And this is mainly because most of the people, operators at that level, are not well trained.
During the devolution, when the government worked on devolving these activities, there was no proper setup system. When we devolve hides and skins, improvement, do we have officers in the field? You find the officers we have in the field, many of them, they have retired. So even if you want supervision of abattoirs, we have got only meat inspectors. Okay. And the meat inspectors, they are only qualified for the meat.
Court Secretary General Francis Atwoli now claims that some well-connected individuals in government are out to grab large chunks of East African Portland cement land which belongs to the NSSF. Atwoli says court will go to court seeking orders to stop acquisition of the land by the government.
And people have misled the government that Portland cement has a free land, that it can just dish out to government. If government wants that free land, let them pay us what we owe, what they owe us, if they insist, then we are moving to court.
Now, operating profits for the second quarter of the year for popular global phone maker Samsung has reduced by 56% to $5.6 billion. The dip in profitability reflects the tough business environment globally, driven by, among other things, the US-China tariffs dispute. The company's key chip business experienced hiccups during the period under review. The South Korean firm remains the leading smartphone maker globally. The reduced earnings were in line with the company's projections of financial performance. Let's now take a look at how the month of July has closed on the financial markets.
NTV Financial Report in association with the University of Nairobi. NTV Financial Report in association with the University of Nairobi.
Be the first to secure admission at the most prestigious university in sub-Saharan Africa. The University of Nairobi is a world-class university committed to scholarly excellence.
Safe to say I'm done. As always, good night.
Now is your time to dance and rejoice.
It's time for the Great Gospel Crusade with evangelist Daniel Kolenda and the ministry of Reinhard Bonke Nakuru.
That Jesus Christ is Lord to the glory of God the Father.
Come and receive your miracle from God at the 4-day power-packed crusade from Thursday 8th August to Sunday 11th August 2019. The venue is Afraha Stadium Open Grounds from 3 p.m. daily.
Come and be blessed.
Jesus is Lord.
This is Motor Hub, ultimately Kenya's finest car dealer company. Our cars are carefully sourced and selected, backed up with excellent skilled personnel. Our aim is to ensure value for your money as well as peace of mind.
When it comes to affordability check, reliability check, finance check, quality defined check, any type of car check. Whenever you need that dream car, tutembele. Mambo hapa yamenyooka nyoro.
So, are you in need of a car? Now you know.
Wewe tu tumengoja.
Motor Hub, we are quality redefined.
The world-famous Molfix and saw the difference. Let's see how absorbent Molfix is. Molfix, thanks to its ultra-absorbent particles, can keep more liquid than the other diaper brand, so you can use it comfortably all day long. All babies deserve a high-quality diaper. You should also try Molfix.
Can I buy a chocolate, please? It's for my mom. Happy birthday, Mom.
Thank you, Bella. There's a class and a half in everyone.
Thanks for staying with us. Let's now have a look at some heart-stopping pictures of a toddler who, Mark, close your eyes, who fell 6 stories from an apartment building in China.
Yikes. The 3-year-old boy wandered onto the balcony of his apartment building. He desperately, as you can see, clung onto the balcony railing for nearly 4 minutes.
But some quick-thinking neighbors tied blankets together and formed a circle on the terrace to break the child's shocking fall.
Fortunately enough, the boy landed safely and walked away unscathed. There you see him going down. Luckily, he didn't hit any of the other balconies and he landed safe.
Wow.
And away from that good news, the Ebola crisis in the Democratic Republic of Congo seems to be escalating, with a second death reported in the city of Goma.
The patient, who traveled to the outskirts of the city, was admitted to hospital with Ebola symptoms on Tuesday and passed away shortly after. The World Health Organization declared Ebola a global health emergency last week.
It's time for sports with Brian Otwal. Among the stories you can expect coming up.
FKF revives the begging bowl ahead of Sunday's Chan 2020 clash against Tanzania. Details after the break.
Konza Greens is the only controlled residential development within Konza Techno City Buffer Zone. Secure your future today.
Nation FM. More music and less talk. Nairobi 96.3, Mombasa 101.5, Meru 93.9, Nyeri 104.9, Eldoret 102.7, and Nakuru on 97.7. Follow us on social media on Facebook at Nation FM, Instagram at Nation FM, and on Twitter at Nation FM KE. Nation FM. More music and less talk.
It's an issue that remains hugely divisive.
At times me feel like mimi niliua watoi wangu mimi mwenyewe. Niliamua kuiterminate juu ningepata ule mtoi ningeteseka. Nilikuwa mdogo, hata sikuwa najua anything about kulea. But me feel hizo vitu zote mimi ndio nilikosa. Nilifeel vibaya sana ku lose 3 kids.
The abortion debate. Live from Fairview Hotel this Thursday on Here and Now from 8 p.m. AMG Realtors brings you Kikopey Ridge. 8th-acre parcels located just 5 minutes drive from Nairobi-Nakuru Highway. Book with 50K, balance in 4 months. AMG Realtors. Integrity.
Hope you had a fantastic day today. Let's have a look at the latest in sports. Welcome, my name is Brian Otwal. It is 2 months before the IAAF World Athletics Championships kick off in Doha, and Kenya is racing against time to clean its image that has been soiled by doping. The use of the biological passport is seen as a breakthrough in the fight against doping, and dopers now have nowhere to hide. Even as the country's global brand takes a hit, doping also plays havoc on athletes' bodies.
For decades, Kenya has established herself as a global athletics powerhouse. In the recent past, however, the doping scourge has threatened to stain Kenya's athletics legacy. Just this year alone, the Athletics Integrity Unit has issued sanctions on 10 Kenyan athletes. While the impact of doping on the country's brand is immense, the effect of doping on individual athletes is life-threatening.
When I started running, I expected to have a better future through athletics. But now that's not the case, because now I'm living regretting that maybe if I had not doped, I could have been better off. I would have ran well to a certain level, but now I cannot run again because of my legs, and I'm living a poor life. I still feel pain in the chest, aching muscles, and the coughing is non-stop.
The harsh experience has birthed advice to other athletes on the perils of doping.
For someone who has never doped, and if I know that one wants to use it, I'd urge them not to use it, because the money they could get from the races, they'd find that they could end up using all of it treating themselves, or even end up having problems with their body. Thus, I'd urge them not to try it at all.
A World Anti-Doping Agency accredited blood testing laboratory was opened in Nairobi in 2018. Through this, Kenya was able to create biological passports for its athletes. And ahead of the national trials for the IAAF World Championships in Doha in September, Kenya is taking no chances.
We've been able to do much more tests, which is an assurance even to our competitors outside there.
We still have a few maybe who are not listening, but I can tell you, those who are not listening, they will never get away with it.
Despite all this, Kenya remains firmly in the IAAF crosshairs.
Indeed, it's safe to run and win clean. Moving on, the efficiency of the sports fund as well as the financial management of Football Kenya Federation have come into focus ahead of the second leg of the African Nations Championship, that is CHAN 2020 qualifiers against Tanzania, set for Sunday. The sports fund has been billed as the solution to the financial woes that have struck Kenyan sports for decades. And the sports fund has come in handy this year with the Magical Kenya Open, the Safari Rally as well as Harambee Stars preparations to AFCON 2019 sorted. The fund is now the Sports, Art, Social and Development Fund, with a huge percentage going towards universal healthcare initiatives, and sports seems to be the loser. During the Harambee Stars post-AFCON luncheon held on the banks of River Nile, sports CS Amina Mohammed sounded the alarm bells when she stated that she hoped FKF had saved some of the millions advanced for future use. But in what is a blast from the past, Football Kenya Federation is currently out with a begging bowl for the 19 million shillings required ahead of the CHAN 2020 return leg against Tanzania.
Kikapu kilikwisha kitambo. So wacha nieleze vizuri kwa sababu nimeongelea haya mambo vizuri kurudia tena. Ni kusema kwamba tulikuwa na bajeti tumepeana ya milioni 244. Hiyo bajeti haikuwepo tu ya kwenda AFCON peke yake. Bajeti ya AFCON hapa ilikuwa kama milioni 150. Zingine ilikuwa ni pesa zile deputy president alitu promise 50 million tukapeana. Haikuwepo kwa bajeti, lakini ilikuwa lazima tuwape vijana. Tukawapa. Ilikuwa mechi ya Ghana milioni 25 tukafanya. Ilikuwa mechi ya Sudan ya Olympic home and away 17 million. Kwa hivyo ukiangalia ni kama milioni 130, milioni 150 ndio ilikuwa halisi ya AFCON.
Should Kenya skip the return leg, then the country will face sanctions from CAF. Kenya drew 0-0 against Tanzania in the first leg in Dar es Salaam last week, and the aggregate winner of the fixture is set to face Sudan in the next round, with a ticket for CHAN 2020 up for grabs. And hosts Kisumu Day are out of the 2019 National Term 2 Secondary School Games, which entered its second day in Kisumu County after they lost their second match in a row. The Term 2 Games that also feature volleyball and netball are being held concurrently with the Under-16 Copa Coca-Cola football tournament, as well as Joshua Makori reports from Kisumu.
Dagoretti High School beat Kisumu Day 2-0 in under-20 football match played at the Moi Stadium in Kisumu to sail into the knockout stage. Mboni Secondary and Ebwale drew 0-0 in another boys under-20 game, while in the girls category St. John's Kaloleni from Coast came from behind to draw 2-2 with Nyanza's Gesero Secondary.
Kalia mafanzi wengi walikuwa kwao, wengine walikuwa kwetu. Lakini vile tumecheza vizuri, mafanzi wetu wengi wakakuwa upande wetu.
But previously we dictated the pace of the game and the boys played very well according to the instructions.
Ninahisi vizuri kwa sababu hawaku qualify kwenda. Sababu timu yenye ilifaa iende kucheza national ilikuwa Barde.
In girls volleyball, defending champions Kwantanze from Eastern registered their second win, thrashing St. John's Kaloleni of Coast Region 3 sets 2-0.
Imekuwa nzuri sana, manake naona wasichana wangu wamejinagulisha katika idara zote za mchezo.
Nafurahia na vipaji ambao viko, manake timu ambazo ziko hapa ni timu ambazo nzuri na inatupa nafasi mwafaka kama wakufunzi wa timu ya taifa kuweza kupata vipaji mpya ambao tutatumia mwaka ujao.
In netball, Bukoholo of Western beat Shumile from Eastern 46-24, while Nyakach overcame Cheptil 50-22. In the Under-16 Copa Coca-Cola football tournament, Dagoretti beat Agorosare 2-0, while Boys Town hammered Machakos Boys 6-1. In the girls category, we beat Njabini 4-0. Dagoretti mixed drew 0-0 with Lugari, and the Miami girls thrashed Itara girls 8-0. Pool matches in soccer under 16 and under 20 boys and girls, netball and volleyball will conclude tomorrow here in Kisumu County. Yoshua Makori, NTV, Moi Stadium, Kisumu.
And Nairobi and Coast boys football teams will face each other in this year's Kenya Primary School Games. That is the Sports Association National Ball and finals at the Meru Teachers Training College in Meru County. Nairobi, who emerged top of their group, which included defending champions Nyanza, struggled to break a resilient Eastern defense with a tie ending in a barren draw in regulation time. Striker Lawrence Miguel was the hero as he scored in extra time. Coast, on the other hand, struggled to overcome Rift Valley before Captain Abdallah Joto goal ensured they booked their first final in 6 attempts. In the girls' final, familiar foes Western and Nyanza will renew their rivalry.
Region ya Nairobi, na inshallah Mwenyezi Mungu akipenda kesho tunauchukua ushindi. Kwa sababu lengo na madhumuni ya kuja hapa si kupata kikombe bali ni kwenda Arusha. Kesho tutakata tikiti ya kwenda Arusha, wala hatushindani kwa tuchukue kikombe. Ndio maombi yetu makuu.
And the national volleyball team, the Malkia Strikers, is in Italy ahead of the FIVB Volleyball Intercontinental Olympic Qualification Tournament that starts on Friday. Kenya, who placed second to Cameroon during the recently concluded Africa Cup of Nations, will face Italy, Netherlands and Belgium as they hunt for a ticket to Tokyo 2020 Olympics. The tournament will be played in a single round-robin format, with the winners getting an Olympic ticket. The Malkia Strikers will have another chance to qualify for the Olympics in January 2020 through the Confederation of African Volleyball Qualification Tournament. Kenya last featured at the Olympics 15 years ago. And the national taekwondo team